Rabbit, rabbit, everybody. Did you ever used to say that when you were a kid? We always would have to say rabbit, rabbit, first words out of our mouth the first day of the month for good luck the rest of the month. So my wish for you is good luck for February. And to that end, I wanted to share some nuts and bolts. So I'm going to aim to have this be a new series the first of every month. So my nuts and bolts this month are 3 levels of questions you need to ask about your investment accounts. My whole motto is you don't have to have all the answers. You have to know the questions to ask, and you have to have the guts to ask them. So if you have investment accounts, people get very confused about what they've got. There's 3 levels of information that you need to know about an investment account. And I know people get confused because very often when I ask about one level, people answer with the information from a different level. So I thought it might be useful to lay this out for you. So the first thing that you need to know is what type of account you have. There's different types of accounts, and what this will determine is the taxation of the investments you have in that account, the ownership, and what happens to it when you pass away. So the 2 basic types of accounts are retirement accounts and non-retirement accounts. So on the retirement account side, you've got IRAs, individual retirement accounts. You've got Roth IRAs. You may have a 401k from your employer. If you work for a nonprofit, you might have a 403b. There are other varieties of retirement accounts as well. Then you could have just a regular old investment account, which could be held in your own name, an individual account. It could be held in joint name. It could be in a trust. But this is the first level of information. Very often I'll ask people, oh, so what are you invested in? And they'll say, I have an IRA. That just tells you the kind of bucket you've got. Now you need to know what goes in the bucket. So first level of information, what kind of account do you have? The second level of information, what types of investment vehicles do you have in there? You could have mutual funds. You could have ETFs, which is a different kind of mutual fund. You could have individual stocks, individual bonds. There's all different kinds of things you can own inside any of these account types. But again, that doesn't tell you the whole story. Once you know what types of investments you have, that's the second level. The third level is, what do those investments actually own? So if you own a mutual fund, that's again kind of a holding vehicle that could hold all different kinds of stuff. You could have a mutual fund that owns stocks. You could have a mutual fund that owns bonds. You could have a mutual fund that owns both. So the third level of information is, what types of investments do I actually own in the end? As I mentioned, you could own stocks, which is a share of ownership of a company. You could own bonds, which is lending money to an entity, a government or a company. They could be U.S. investments. They could be international investments. They could be from small companies or large companies, governments or corporations. They could be higher credit quality or lower. All of these things are going to help determine the level of risk that you're subjecting yourself to. So to recap my brief rabbit broadcast today, 3 levels of information you need to know. So be an empowered woman, be an empowered consumer of financial products. Ask the questions. Number 1, what type of account are we talking about? Retirement, non-retirement? What do I own in it? Do I own mutual funds, ETFs, or individual securities? And then number 3, if they are mutual funds or ETFs, what types of vehicles do they own underneath? Rabbit, good luck to you all. Have a great month.